Now, in the past few game weeks, my FPL team has been flying, going all the way from 5.2 million in the rankings, all the way up into the top 300,000. And in today's video, we're going to be discussing my transfer targets and my plans for the next few weeks to hopefully break into that top 250k before the end of the year. Now, if you do enjoy any of the content that you see on the channel, please be sure to like, comment and subscribe, as we are trying to hit 11,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and it is only possible with your guys' amazing support. As you can see on screen right now, this is ahead of the Wolves game, and we've had a pretty decent game week 15. As you can see, the last rank just inside the top 600,000. Now, with the pre-subs, it is at 223. Obviously, post-subs, it's around 290, but we still have Cunha and 8 Nuri to play. This video will go out once those guys have played, so obviously that potentially might change. Maybe we're inside the top 250k already. Who knows? Let's wait and see. But overall, it has been an absolutely fantastic game week. Obviously, we went with Cole Palmer captain. I was kind of feeling it already. If you were in the deadline stream prior to the Liverpool game being cancelled, I was like, I do fancy Cole Palmer to do it. You know, I do fancy him to do quite well this game week. And he did. Arguably a little bit fortunate with 2 gifted penalties and, of course, a little bit of a jammy assist. But sometimes we do have to keep it. And Mbeumo and Wissa, like I said in the deadline stream, again, I wasn't really sure on who to replace Mbeumo with. And I feel like sometimes that's the problem with people in this game. They're very, very quick to get rid of players that do just deliver. They are players that deliver. They obviously go through difficult patches. But people like Brian Mbeumo, your top quality players that play 90 minutes, go through these dead patches, and then, of course, do come back. His underlying numbers for this game as well were really, really decent. And I feel sometimes if you're a little bit unsure what to actually do with your side, sometimes doing absolutely nothing is better than making a transfer that you're going to regret. And I definitely feel that's the case that I've gone for this week. And it's something I've tried to take on board this season as well. If I'm not 100% convinced by a transfer, I'm not going to make it. One that I did wish I had made last week was the Wissa out for Isak. Isak ended up scoring 1 more point. I'm glad I kept Wissa. He did obviously get himself a goal, which helps. But for this upcoming run, I really, really want Alexander Isak. And he is, of course, going to be a player we're going to be speaking quite a lot about in today's video. I imagine a lot of you as well are looking at Bukayo Saka as a potential option. Going forward with the team as well, I feel we're in a really, really good place. Obviously taking 2 free transfers into game week 16. So let's go and take a look at some of the transfer targets and some of the players I'm going to be looking to buy this game week. Now, like I just briefly mentioned there, Alexander Isak is a player I'm really, really looking and really excited by for the next few game weeks. As we can see down the bottom, the next 2 fixtures are delicious with Leicester and Ipswich at home. You would have to back Alexander Isak to do exceptionally well, and Newcastle should be winning both of those fixtures as well. The following 3 are a little bit more tricky, but as I outlined in the FPL Experts video that went out yesterday or the day before, I can't remember which day we're filming this on, to be honest, but whenever that video went out, I said in that video all the defences he's playing are pretty weak at the moment and not, you know, high quality defences. I could see him scoring in every single one of the more difficult games, and then following that, a really, really good run of greens as well. Obviously, he is delivering at the moment, 3 goals, 2 assists in his past 5 appearances, but I'm just finding it a little bit hard to, of course, part with Johan Wissa, a player we did bring in ahead of the Ipswich game, and since then he has formed a magical relationship with my side and has obviously been helping us fly up the rankings. He's arguably one of the main reasons that I've gone from that 5.2 million all the way down now to the top 300,000. It's been Johan Wissa, it's been Cunha, and it's been a little bit of luck as well with captaincy and people like Aina and Mikalenko picking up some mega scores. But the main players that I'm really, really proud of that I did pick up on were Wissa and were Cunha. And I think the next few fixtures aren't as difficult as maybe people are suggesting. Now, he doesn't do well away from home, neither do Brentford, and that is one of the main reasons I do want to get this guy out. The next 3 fixtures, 2 of those are away fixtures, Chelsea away and, of course, Brighton away. Brentford have only picked up 1 point so far this season away from home. And obviously the home fixture that they've got is against Nottingham Forest, who are currently sat 4-4 XG conceded as well. So I think even though it is a home fixture and Brentford have been the entertainers at home, one of the best scoring sides in Europe, 4 goals scored at home, it is looking a little bit difficult to potentially keep hold of Johan Wissa for this run. It's not the best, and with there only being one home fixture in there, against a defence, like I said, that has been doing exceptionally well, I think it might be time to potentially make that move to Alexander Isak. I know it's a hard one, I know it's a little bit of an emotional one, and some people might be just saying stick with Wissa, and you know what? The AI recommendations on Fantasy Football Hub are also suggesting the same. It's actually saying I should get rid of João Pedro, which is a really interesting thing. Obviously, not the greatest performance from him today, but overall, I still think the move from Wissa to Isak probably makes a little bit more sense. But let me know if I'm potentially making the wrong move or the right move down in the comments section below. In terms of another player I am looking at, but probably this one's going to be, I would say, around game week 18, more likely for a Nuri, is going to be Munoz. I've watched the past few Crystal Palace kind of extended highlights, and this guy is game breaking, genuinely getting into positions he shouldn't be. 8 shots in the box for a defender over the past 5 game weeks is ridiculous, genuinely ridiculous. I think it's now the most shots for a defender over the past 5 game weeks in the box, which is unbelievable. 1.80 XG, so it's not like he's massively overachieving or underachieving on his underlying data as well, which is really decent to see. And I think, you know, the Palace fixtures post the Arsenal game are really good. Obviously, they got that Chelsea game dashed in there, and we'll have to bench him for that one. But following on from that, again, it goes into a really nice run of fixtures for Crystal Palace. Unfortunately, they've not been the best defence so far this season. Sat 11th for XG conceded, but it is his attacking returns that are definitely, you know, and the positions he's getting to that are definitely starting to shape my mind and make me think that this guy could be a really good replacement for Nuri. I think you could bring him in this week, but of course you are going to have to bench him for that Arsenal game. So I think for me, the plan is to probably hold off on this move all the way up until 18, and then of course look to move Nuri out when those Wolves fixtures do get a little bit difficult. The final thing I wanted to talk about before we obviously move on to my team and how it's looking with our potential transfer targets added is, of course, the projected goal involvements from 11FI. If you want to go and check this out for yourself, I will leave a link in the description to their amazing website. As we can see here, one of the names I wanted to highlight, of course, is Alexander Isak with 0.84 for that matchday 16 fixture. That's the reason I'm really keen on bringing him in. Really high projected goal involvements as well in 17 and, of course, in 18. Even the ones in 19 and 20, still pretty decent projections for Alexander Isak as well. Haaland's another player that I think will start to enter our conversations as we do progress over the next few weeks. As we can see here, a really big uptick in terms of projected goal involvement from around match day 18, and obviously decent captaincy potential in 19 and 20 as well. And that is probably the period where we will be looking to obviously go and bring him in. And I do feel like we need a plan of action in our back pocket to, of course, go and get the big man back in, because if he is obviously going to be putting up decent projected goal involvement numbers like this, and he actually follows through on it, he of course is going to be a really good captaincy option. So I do feel like we might potentially have to be a little bit reserved with some transfers if of course Haaland does start to cook, and we want to get him in for that decent City fixture run from match day 18 onwards as well. That of course were my transfer targets. Let's go and take a look now at the team. So here is how my team is looking now that we've made the one transfer. Like I said, the Munoz one is probably going to hold off all the way up until match day 18. As you can see there, Nuri with Manchester United at home. It's not the worst fixture, and maybe we could hold him for that one, but following on from that, it's really difficult run coming up for Wolves. Lots of greys and lots of reds during that period. We have brought in Alexander Isak. As you can see here, 7.2 predicted points, 6.4 for the Ipswich game, and 6.2 for the Villa game as well. And that front three really does look very good going forward as well. I put the captaincy on Cole Palmer for now. I do think it would probably switch to Mohamed Salah as we get closer to the deadline, because I do feel like he will still be the large majority captain. However, it could be a really big 50-50 split, with both players having exceptionally good home fixtures this week. Obviously, I feel like on paper, the Brentford at home fixture is a lot more easier, considering, like I said, their poor away record so so far this season. Obviously, their defensive woes as well, with Flecken only keeping 1 clean sheet so far this season as well. So that's something to potentially consider. Obviously, Fulham are currently sat joint third for XG conceded as well. So maybe Cole Palmer is going to be that ideal captain. But I think this team looks absolutely ridiculous going forward. The Fantasy Football Hub AI rating as well for it is 97% and 96% game week rating as well for game week 16. Of course, we have 1.2 million left in the bank, and like I spoke about, future transfer plans, probably looking at the team and how it's lined up for next week, probably going to be a roll across the board. Then we're probably looking at, of course, 8 Nuri out for Munoz in game week 18. And then following on from that, I do think we might have to have a little bit of a contingency plan in place for Erling Haaland. But of course, I'm absolutely loving owning Palmer, Salah and Saka as our midfield three at the moment. I think Saka was probably a little bit unfortunate not to have came away with any attacking returns today, but hopefully going forward over the next few weeks, he can deliver. Let me know what you think of my team and how it's planning out. Of course, if you've got any questions about yours as well, get them in the comment section, as I'll try to answer as many as I possibly can. But thank you very much for watching today, ladies and gentlemen, and good luck in game week 16.